When is an Idaho Republican no longer Republican enough? I'm your Jerome neighborhood reporter, Lori in Nettleton, speaking with Representative Jack Nelsen, who was recently censured by Republican committees in Blaine and Lincoln counties.
I'm not a puppet for the Freedom Foundation or anybody. I got elected by my constituents. That's who I owe my allegiance to, and I do my very best to take good care of them.
I caught up with Representative Jack Nelsen at Thursday's Jerome County Republican Central Committee meeting, where he explained several of his votes that had been identified as going against the party.
America's been pretty great we're right at 250 years with a really distinct separation of church and state.
Nelsen represents District 26, which includes Jerome, Blaine, and Lincoln counties. Last week, Nelsen was censured by the Republican Central Committees of Blaine and Lincoln counties. I wanted to see if Jerome would follow suit.
We just started to notice a trend of him going against some pretty fundamental issues that are generally agreed upon in the Republican Party, both at the state level and at the national level, and that's when we started this conversation about the censure.
Heather Lauer is chair of the Blaine County Republicans. She explains, though censure doesn't carry immediate weight, it is a formal way for the party to show they're not happy with Nelsen's actions.
It's not just about occasional disagreements. It's about pretty fundamental support or pretty fundamental opposition to issues like individual rights, parental choice, parental rights, things like medical mandates, mask mandates, stuff that the Republican Party as a whole has a pretty established opinion and position on at this point, and he seems to be taking different positions, and that concerns us.
Without enough members present, the Jerome Committee could not take any action. Lana Donahue was one of three people who urged the Jerome Republicans to join Blaine and Lincoln committees in censuring Nelsen.
In this state, many people will run as Republicans to get elected, right, even if that is not their belief.
Sure. Donahue moved to Idaho 5 years ago and told me one of her concerns was that Nelsen had not signed the Integrity and Affiliation Statement, a type of oath of allegiance to the GOP platform.
So if you don't sign the belief, if you don't believe the belief, why are you running as a Republican to begin with?
Nelsen is one of the 53 out of 72 state legislators listed on the Idaho GOP website who either did not sign that integrity affiliation or signed yes with exceptions in 2024.
If you hadn't noticed right now, it's a pretty divided party. I'm a longtime Republican. I consider myself a bit of a Reagan Republican, and I'm not a fan of the Idaho Freedom Foundation. And I kind of like the saying that Idaho's been kind of a cheap date for large national dark money.
Nelsen believes the party has drifted away from values he holds, such as separation of church and state and local control.
My biggest concern is party issues ahead of what's best for the people in the state of Idaho.
You can read the full statements on the censure from the Blaine and Lincoln Republicans, as well as Representative Nelsen's response on this story on our website, idahonews6.com. I'm your Jerome neighborhood reporter, Lori in Nettleton, Idaho News 6.